A true wireless IEM? Is this too good to be true? Hello and thank you for clicking on this video. I'll be sharing my experience on Soundpeats' latest TWS release, and this is the Soundpeats H3, which is a single dynamic driver and 2BA driver TWS shaped like an IEM that will cost you about $130 US. And it'll be very interesting to see if they manage to capture the sound of an IEM and give it the benefits of a wireless system and be able to pull it off. But before we dive deeper into this device, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Soundpeats for sending this unit in exchange for my honest feedback. However, as always, all thoughts and opinions are my own and are not influenced by any parties. If you're interested in this or any other products that are featured on this channel, I'll leave some links in the description section of this video for you to check out. And if you've been enjoying my content, I hope you'll hit that like and subscribe button, as they'll help the channel a lot and I'd appreciate your support. For the unboxing experience is similar to any other Soundpeats devices before it, where it comes with a cute panda stickers, a few pairs of interchangeable ear tips, which is nice, and also the charging cable. And you'll be greeted by the case. The case itself is also very nicely designed. It's a bit on the larger side since this is housing IEM shaped TWS, more on that later, but it has the usual USB charging port at the bottom, the pairing or reset button at the back with the Soundpeats branding, and a dark grey translucent cover, and opening that you have the Hear the Difference logo with a bit of texture around it, and you'll be greeted by the earbuds themselves. Very nice case design, but I know the size may be an issue for some in terms of portability. The design of the H3 is pretty much a design of an IEM. Plastic shell around with Soundpeats logo at the faceplate in gold, and the transparent shell which you can see the drivers and all the other bits and pieces that makes a TWS. And it looks even cooler because unlike some IEMs with transparent shell that just houses the drivers and nothing else, it can look pretty empty at times, but for the H3 it's just filled out, so to me this looks very nice. But the caveat is that it does have a bit of chunkiness to it, but it also has a lot of grooves and contours, so just testing out the fit and comfort. For my ears, the H3 fits in like a glove. And with the right ear tips, I'm already getting a seal around my ears without needing to turn on the ANC mode, which can be a benefit depending on your ear size, since turning the ANC off saves your battery life, but it is a bit on the chunky side as mentioned earlier, so I'll just put a mild caution as smaller ears may need a bit of tip rolling. For battery life, it has a total of 37 hours with the case and 7 hours per charge, so enough for your daily commute. It supports up to Bluetooth 5.4, LDAC, aptX lossless, 10 minutes of charge gives you about 2 hours of playback. It has an IPX5 water resistance. And this is how the microphone sounds like on the Soundpeats H3. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3. What do you think of the sound? If you have been using any of Soundpeats' recent devices, you should be familiar with their app support, which is the Peats Audio app. So without going into too much repeat, essentially this is where you can set custom keys, game mode, toggle transparency mode, LDAC, double device connection feature, check your battery status. But the best part of the Soundpeats app is the EQ setting, where you've got a few presets, and you can also do your own custom EQ through the 10-band EQ that's presented to you. In summary, a lot of customizability and options to tweak to tune the sound to your personal preference. Speaking about sound, the sound from the H3 ticks a lot of boxes. It has a lot of fullness in the lower regions, the bass is coming through weighty with a bit of impact, there's a lot of warmth to the vocals, however it's not as clean or clear as some of the Soundpeats devices before it, but it's not overly muddy as well. I would still categorize the sound as being a bit on the intimate side, so you do get the background music and vocals closer to you, which is good in a way where you can hear the details since they're closer to you, but at the same time there's only so much 3 drivers can do in separating the sound. So while it's good enough on really busy tracks, it can get a little bit congested, but that's already expected for IEMs at this price, so it won't be a surprise that it's happening on a TWS. But you can hear what's happening in the left and right channel, and imaging is quite good, especially when you're remembering that this is a TWS. Treble has that energy to cut through the bass from the lower region, so it has a bit of that V-shaped tuning, but the treble extension still has that distance, so it won't give you that bite, but at the same time the presentation sounds a little bit darker as a result. But I still put just a very mild caution for treble sensitive people, but personally it didn't sound too harsh or sibilant. Overall, those who enjoy a V-shaped tuning will definitely have a blast with the H3, so from this point it sounds like this is a slam dunk from Soundpeats. However, there is one thing that is hindering my experience, and I'm not sure if it's just specifically my unit or this could be a thing across the entire line, but there's a small pause whenever I start and stop tracks or media, so it almost feels like there's a bit of lag going on. It's not a huge deal breaker, but when you're comparing this with other TWS that works more seamlessly, the differences become a little bit more distracting, and it makes me lean towards something else even though this is better for sound. However, if I'm comparing this against all other Soundpeats devices that I've tested so far, the H3 really sets itself apart from the rest, bringing in all the latest technology Soundpeats has to offer while still delivering an exceptional sounding TWS. The battery life may not be as good overall compared to the likes of the Air or Capsule series with the case, but on a single charge for the TWS itself, without the case, the H3 still holds its own, and the sound, well, even though all of them benefit from the Peats Audio app EQ, at stock, you're hearing just a touch more liveliness from the H3 and a bit more separation between sounds that gives the overall presentation a bit more room for smaller details to come through. The H3 is truly an enjoyable experience, but the caveat is that with IEM shells, it may not fit into everyone's ears as smoothly as typical TWS earbuds designed with the stems. Those with smaller ears might still lean towards the Air series than the H3, and the Air or Capsule series from Soundpeats was more seamless in the sound transitions between media, with little to no lag at all compared to the H3. So there's pros and cons to each series, but if your ears can take a typical IEM with a single dynamic driver and 2 BAs and then some, then the H3 should be no issue. So in summary, had my unit not have that transition issue, this would have been my top pick for Soundpeats TWS or any other TWS at this price range, because the Soundpeats H3 punches above and its presence is strong, especially for those looking for a really good sounding TWS that won't break the bank and has tons of features that will make your experience an enjoyable one. So I really hope that it's just an issue with my unit specifically, because that is the only thing, as I mentioned earlier already, that's making me go back to my usual daily driver, which is the Capsule 3 Pro Plus. But that's just based on one man's experience, and I'm curious to know your thoughts. Have you tried the Soundpeats H3, and are you experiencing the same issues as I do? Comment below and let me know, and with that all said, thank you once again to Soundpeats for this opportunity and to all of you for watching. See you all in the next video.